Chapter 46 Trick or Treat. August said he wasn't feeling well enough to go trick or treating later in the afternoon, which was sad for him because I know how much he loved to trick or treat, especially after it got dark outside. Even though I was well beyond the trick or treating stage myself, I usually threw on some marks to or other to accompany him up and down the blocks. Watching him knocking on people's doors, giddy with excitement. I knew it was the one night a year when he could truly be like every other kid. No one knew he was different under the mask. To August, that must have felt absolutely amazing. At 7 o'clock that night, I knocked on the door. Hey, I said. Hey, he said back. He wasn't using his PlayStation or reading a comic book. He was just laying in his bed looking at the ceiling. Daisy, as always, was next to him on the bed. Her head dropped over his leg. The bleeding scream costume was crumped up on the floor next to the Boba Fett costume. How's your stomach? I said, sitting next to him on the bed. I'm still nauseous. You sure you are not up for the Halloween parade? Positive. This surprised me. Usually August was such a chopper about his medical issues, whether it was skateboarding a few days after a surgery or sipping food through a shore when his mouth was practically about to shut. This was a kid who's gotten more shots, taken more medicines, put up with more procedures by the age of 10 than most people would have to put up with in 10 lifetimes, and he was sidelined from a little nausea. You want to tell me what's up? I said, sounding a bit like Mom. No. Is it school? Yes. Teachers, schoolwork, friends? He didn't answer. Did someone say something? I asked. People always say something, he answered bitterly. I could tell he was close to crying. Tell me what happened, I said, and he told me what happened. He had overheard some very mean things when boys were saying about him. He didn't care about what the other boys have said. He expected that, but he was hurt that one of the boys was his best friend, Jack Will. I remember his mentioning Jack a couple of times over the past few months. I remember Mom and Dad saying he seemed like a really nice kid, saying they were glad August had already made a friend like that. Sometimes kids are stupid, I said softly, holding his hand. I'm sure he didn't mean it. Then why would he say it? He has been pretending to be my friend all along. Third man probably bribed him with good grades or something. I bet you he was like, hey, Jack, if you make friends with a freak, you don't have to take any tests this year. You know that's not true, and don't call yourself a freak. Whatever, I wish I would never go to school in the first place. But I thought you were liking it. I hate it. He was angry on a student punching his pillow. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. He was shrieking at the top of his lungs. I didn't say anything, I didn't know what to say. He was hurt, he was mad. I let him have a few minutes of his fury. Daisy started licking the tears off his face. Come on, Augie, I said, patting his back gently. Why don't you put on your Jango Fett costume and... It's a Boba Fett costume. Why does everyone mix that up? Boba Fett's costume, I said, trying to stay calm. I put my hand around his shoulders. Let's just go to the parade, okay? If I go to the parade, Mom will think I'm feeling better and make me go to school tomorrow. Mom would never make you go to school, I answered. Come on, Augie, let's just go. It will be fun. I promise, and I will let you have all my candy. He didn't argue. He got out of bed and slowly started pulling on his Boba Fett costume. I have him adjust the stop and tighten the belt, and by the time he put his helmet on, I could tell he was feeling better. That on chapter 46.
August paid up the stomachache the next day so he wouldn't have to go to school. I admit I felt a little bad for Mom, who was genuinely concerned that he had a stomachache. But I had promised August that I wouldn't tell her about the incident at school. By Sunday, he was still determined not to go to school. What are you planning on telling Mom and Dad? I asked him when he told me this. They said I could quit whenever I wanted to. He said this while he was still focused on a comic book he was reading. But you've never been the kind of kid who would quit things. I said truthfully, that's not like you. I'm quitting. You're going to have to tell Mom and Dad why, I pointed out, pulling the comic book out of his hands so he didn't have to look up at me while we were talking. Then Mom will call school and everyone will know about it. You'll just get in trouble. I would think so. Good. I have to admit, August was surprising me more and more. He pulled another comic book off his shelf and started leafing through it. Audrey, I said, are you really going to let a couple stupid kids keep you going back from school? Keep you from going back to school? I know you've been enjoying it. Don't give them that power over you. Don't give them the satisfaction. They have no idea I even hurt them. He explained. No, I know, but yeah, it's okay. I know what I am doing. I've made up my mind. But this is crazy, Audrey. I said emphatically, pulling the new comic book away from him, too. You have to go back to school. Everyone hates school sometimes. I hate school sometimes. I hate my friends sometimes. That's what lies, Audrey. You want to be cheated normally, right? This is normal. We don't have to go to school sometimes, despite the fact that we have bad days, okay? Do people go out of their way to avoid talking to you, yeah? He answered, which left me momentarily without an answer. Yeah, right. That's what I thought. So don't compare your bad days at school to mine, okay? Okay, that's fair, I said. But it's not a contest about whose days suck the most, Audrey. The boy will have to put up with their bad days now, unless you want to be cheated normally, a cheated like a baby the rest of your life, or like a kid with a special needs. You just have to suck it up and go. He didn't say anything, but I think the last bit was getting to him. You don't have to say a word to the kids, I continued. August actually is so cool that you know what they said, but they don't know you know what they said, you know? What the heck? You know what I mean? You don't have to talk to them ever again if you don't want, and they will never know why, see? Or you can pretend to be friends with them, but deep down inside you know you are not. Is that how you are with Miranda? He asked. No, I answered quickly, defensively. I never faked my feeling with Miranda. So why are you saying I should? I'm not. I'm just saying you shouldn't let those little jokes get to you, that's all. Like Miranda got to you. Why do you keep bringing me up? I yelled impatiently. I'm trying to talk to you about your friends. We keep my out of it. You are not even friends with her anymore. What does that have to do with what we were talking about? The way August was looking at me reminded me of Adolf's face. He was just staring at me blankly with his half-closed door eyes. She called the other day, he said finally. What? I was stunned. What? And why? What? And you didn't tell me? She wasn't calling you, he answered, pulling both comic books out of my hand. She was calling me just to say hi, to see how I was doing. She didn't even know I was going to a real school now. I can't believe you hadn't even told her. She said the two of you don't hang out as much anymore. But she wanted me to know she'd always loved me like a big sister. Double standard tongue flabbergasted, no word formed in my mouth. Why didn't you tell me? I said finally. I don't know, he started, opening the first comic book again. Well, I'm telling mom and dad about that. If you stop going to school, I answered. Those men will probably call you into school and make Jack and those other kids apologize to you in front of everyone. And everyone will treat you like a kid who should be going to school for kids with special needs. Is that what you want? Because that's what's going to happen. Otherwise, you just go back to school and act like nothing happened. Or if you want to confront Jack about it, fine. But either way, if you... Fine. He interrupted. What? Fine, I will go, he yelled, not loudly. Just stop talking about it already. Can I please read my book now? Fine, I answered, turning to leave his room. I thought of something. Did Miranda say anything else about me? He looked up from the comic book and looked right into my eyes. She said to tell you she missed you, quote unquote. I know, thanks. I said casually, too embarrassed to let's see how happy that made me feel.
Part 3 Summers. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down. You are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring you down. Christina Aguilera, beautiful.
48. Weird kids. Some kids have actually come out and asked me why I hang out with the freak so much. These are kids that don't even know him well. If they knew him, they wouldn't call him that. Because he's a nice kid, I always answer. And don't call him that. You're a sand, Summer, Simona Chin said to me the other day. I couldn't do what you're doing. It's not a big deal, I answered her truthfully. Did Mr. Tushman ask you to be friends with him? Charlotte Cody asked. No, I'm friends with him because I want to be friends with him, I answered. Who knew that my sitting with August Pullman at lunch would be such a big deal? People act like it was the strangest thing in the world. It's weird how weird kids can be. I sat with him that first day because I felt sorry for him, that's all. Here he was, this strange-looking kid in a brand new school. No one was talking to him. Everyone was staring at him. All the girls at my table were whispering about him. He wasn't the new kid a picture bread, but he was the only one everyone was talking about. Julian had nicknamed him the zombie kid, and that's what everyone was calling him. Did you see the zombie kid yet? Stuff like that gets around fast, and August knew it. It's hard enough being a new kid even when you have a normal face. Imagine having his face. So I just went over and sat with him, not a big G. I wish people would stop trying to turn it into something major. He's just a kid, the weirdest looking kid I've ever seen, yes, but just a kid.
This is chapter 50, the Halloween party. I was really excited because I got an invitation to Savannah's Halloween party. Savannah is probably the most popular girl in the school. All the boys like her, all the girls want to be friends with her. She was the first girl in the grade who actually had a boyfriend. It was some kid who goes to MS 281 though. She dumped him and started dating Henry Joplin, which makes sense because the two of them totally look like teenagers already. Anyway, even though I'm not in the popular group, I somehow got invited, which is very cool. When I told Savannah I got her invitation and would be going to her party, she was really nice to me, though she made sure to tell me that she didn't invite a lot of people, so I shouldn't go around bragging to anyone that I got invited. Maja didn't get invited, for instance. Savannah also made sure to tell me not to wear a costume. It's good she told me because of course I would have worn a costume to a Halloween party. Not the unicorn costume I made for the Halloween parade, but the goth girl get-up that I was going to school. But even that was a no-no for Savannah's party. The only negative about my going to Savannah's party was that now I wouldn't be able to go to the parade and the unicorn costume would be wasted. That was a kind of bummer, but okay. Anyway, the first thing that happened when I got to a party was that Savannah greeted me at the door and asked, "What's your boyfriend, Summer?" I didn't even know what she was talking about. I guess he doesn't have to wear a mask at Halloween, right? She added. And then I knew she was talking about August. "He's not my boyfriend," I said. "I know, I'm just kidding." She kissed my cheek. All the girls in her group kissed each other's cheeks now, whenever they said hello, and threw my jacket on a coat rack in her hallway. Then she took me by the hand down the stairs to her basement, which is where the party was. I didn't see her parents anywhere. There were about 15 kids there. All of them were popular kids from either Savannah's group or Julian's group. I guess they all kind of merged into one big super group of popular kids. Now that some of them had started dating each other, I didn't even know there were so many couples. I mean, I knew about Savannah and Henry, but Jimena and Miles and Ellie and Amos. Ellie's practically as flat as I am. Anyway, about 5 minutes after I got there, Henry and Savannah was standing next to me, literally hovering over me. "So we want to know why you hang out with the zombie kid so much," said Henry. "He's not a zombie," I laughed, like they were making a joke, but I was smiling, but I didn't feel like smiling. "You know, Summer," said Savannah, "you would be a lot more popular if you didn't hang out with him so much. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Julian likes you. He wants to ask you out." "He does? Do you think he's cute?" Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he's cute." "So you have to choose who you want to hang out with," Savannah said. She was talking to me like a big sister would talk to a little sister. "Everyone's like you, Summer. Everyone thinks you're really nice and that you're really, really pretty. You could totally be part of our group if you wanted to, and believe me, there are a lot of girls in our grade who'd love that. I know, I nodded. Thank you. You're welcome, she answered. Do you want me to tell Julian to come and talk to you? I looked over to where she was pointing and could see Julian looking over at us. I actually need to go to the bathroom. Where's that? I went to where she pointed, sat down on the side of the bathtub, and called Mom and asked her to pick me up. Is everything okay? Said Mom. Yeah, I just don't want to stay, I said. Mom didn't ask any more questions and said she'd be there in 10 minutes. Don't ring the bell, I told her. Just call me when you're outside. I hung out in the bathroom till Mom called, and then I snuck upstairs without anyone seeing me, got my jacket and went outside. It was only 9:30. The Halloween party was in full swing down Amesfort Avenue. Huge crowds everywhere. Everyone was in costume. Skeletons, pirates, princesses, vampires, superheroes, but not one in unicorn.
November. The next day at school, I told Savannah I had eaten some really bad Halloween candy and gotten sick, which is why I went home early from her party, and she believed me. There was actually a stomach bug going around, so it was a good lie. I also told her that I had a crush on someone else that wasn't Julian, so she would leave me alone about that and hopefully spread the word to Julian that I wasn't interested. She, of course, wanted to know who I had a crush on, and I told her it was a secret. August was absent the day after Halloween, and when he came back, I could tell something was up with him. He was acting so weird at lunch. He barely said a word and kept looking down at his foot when I talked to him like he wouldn't look me in the eye. Finally, I was like, Augie, is everything okay? Are you mad at me or something? No, he said. Sorry you weren't feeling well on Halloween. I kept looking for Boba Fett in the hallways. Yeah, I was sick. Did you have that stomach bug? Yeah, I guess. He opened a book and started to read, which was kind of rude. I'm so excited about the Egyptian Museum project, I said. Aren't you? He shook his head, his mouth full of food. I actually looked away because between the way he was chewing, which almost seemed like he was being gross on purpose, and the way his eyes were just kind of closed down, I was getting a really bad vibe from him. What project did you get? I asked. He shrugged, pulling out a little scrap of paper from his jeans pocket and flicked it across the table to me. Everyone in the grade got assigned an Egyptian artifact to work on for Egyptian Museum Day, which was in December. The teachers wrote all the assignments down on tiny scraps of paper, which they put into a fishbowl, and then all us kids in the grade took turns picking the papers out of the fishbowl in assembly. So I unfolded August's little slip of paper. Oh, cool, I said, maybe a little overexcited because I was trying to get him psyched up. You got the step pyramid of Sakura. Oh, I know, he said. I got Anubis, the god of the afterlife. The one with the dog head? It's actually a jackal head, I corrected him. Hey, you want to start working on our projects together after school? You could come over to my house. He put his hand down and leaned back in his chair. I can't even describe the look he was giving me. You know, Summer, he said, you don't have to do this. What are you talking about? You don't have to be friends with me. I know Mr. Tushman talked to you. I have no idea what you're talking about. You don't have to pretend is all I'm saying. I know Mr. Tushman talked to some kids before school started and told them they had to be friends with me. He did not talk to me, August. Yeah, he did. No, he did not. Yeah, he did. He didn't, I swear on lie. I put my hands up in the air so he could see I wasn't crossing my fingers. He immediately looked down at my feet, so I shook out my Uggs so he could see my toes weren't crossed. You are wearing ties, he said accusingly. You can see my toes are flat, I yelled. Okay, you don't have to scream. I don't like being accused of things, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, you should be. He really didn't talk to you, Augie. Okay, I'm really sorry. I would have stayed mad at him longer, but then he told me about something bad that had happened to him on Halloween, so I couldn't stay mad at him anymore. Basically, he heard Jack bad-mouthing him and saying really horrible things behind his back. It kind of explained his attitude, and now I knew why he'd been out sick. Promise you won't tell anyone, he said. I would, I nodded. Promise you won't ever be mean like that to me again? Promise, he said, and we pinky swore.
Chapter 51 Warning: This kid is rated R. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know he's not always so good at faking her feelings, and August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it, but I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through the door and saw his face for the first time. Hi, Mom. This is Augie. Can you stay for dinner? I asked quickly. It took a second for my question to even register. Hi, Augie, she said. Of course, sweetheart, if it's okay with Augie's mother. While Augie called his mother on his cell phone, I whispered to Mom, Stop making the weirded out face. She had that look like when she's watching the news and some horrific events that has happened. She nodded quickly, like she hadn't realized she was making a face, and it was really nice and normal to Augie afterward. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects, went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantel, and he saw a picture of me and Daddy. Is that your dad? He said. Yeah. I didn't know you were... What's the word? Biracial. Right, that's the word. Yeah. He looked at the picture again. Are your parents divorced? I've never seen him drop off or anything. Oh no. I said, he was a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. Wow, look at those medals. Yeah, his was pretty awesome. Wow, Summer, I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks. I really miss him a lot. Yeah, well, he nodded, handing me back the picture. Have you ever known anyone who died? I asked. Just my grandmother, and I don't really even remember her. That's too bad, Augie nodded. You ever wonder what happens to people when they die? I asked. He shrugged. Not really. I mean, I guess they go to heaven. That's where my grands went. I think about it a lot, I said. I think when people die, their souls do go to heaven but just for a little while. Like that's where they see their old friends and stuff and kind of catch up on old times. But then I actually think the souls start thinking about their lives on earth, like if they were good or bad or whatever. And then they get born again as brand new babies in the world. Why would they want to do that? Because then they get another chance to get it right, I answered. Their souls get a chance to have a do-over. She thought about what I was saying and then nodded. Kind of like when you get a makeup test. He said, right. But they don't come back looking the same, he said. I mean, they look completely different when they come back, right? Oh, yeah, I answered. Your soul stays the same, but everything else is different. I like that, he said, nodding a lot. I really like that, Summer. That means in my next life I won't be stuck with this face. He pointed to his face when he said that and batted his eyes, which made me laugh. I guess not, I chuckled. Hey, I might even be handsome, he said, smiling. That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? I would come back and be this good looking dude and be super buff and super tall. I laugh again. He was such a good sport about himself. That's one of the things I like the most about Augie. Hey Augie, can I ask you a question? Yeah, he said, like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I've been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I've always lost the guts to ask. What? He said. You want to know what's wrong with my face? Yeah, I guess. If it's okay for me to ask. He shrugged. It was so relieved that he didn't seem mad or sad. Yeah, it's no big deal, he said casually. The main thing I have is this thing called mandibulofacial dysostosis, which took me forever to learn how to pronounce. By the way, but I also have this other more thing that I can't even pronounce. And this thing kind of just morphed together into one big super thing, which is so rare they don't even have a name for it. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm just actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know? He smiled. That was a joke, he said. You can laugh. I smiled and shook my head. You are funny, Augie, I said. Yes, I am, he said proudly. I am cool beans.
Hello, I'm Chathia, and now I'll read the chapter The Call. So in August, my parents got this call from Mr. Tushman, the middle school director, and my mom said maybe he calls all the new students to welcome them. And my dad said that's a lot of kids he would be calling. So my mom called him back, and I could hear her talking to Mr. Tushman on the phone. This is exactly what she said. Oh, hi, Mr. Tushman. This is Amanda Will. Returning your call? Pause. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. He is looking forward to it. Pause. Yes, pause. Yeah, pause. Oh, sure. Long pause. Oh, pause. Pause. Well, that's so nice of you to say. Pause. Sure. Oh, wow. Oh, super long pause. I see, of course. I'm sure he will. Let me write it down. Got it. I'll call you later after I have had a chance to talk to him, okay? Pause. Thank you for thinking of him. Bye-bye. And when she hung up, I was like, what's up? What did he say? And my mom said, well, it's actually very flattering, but kind of sad too. See, there's this boy who's starting middle school this year, and he's never been in a real school environment before because he was homeschooled. So Mr. Tushman talked to some of the lower school teachers to find out who they thought were some of the really, really great kids coming to 5th grade. And the teachers must have told him you were an especially nice kid, which I already knew, of course. And so Mr. Tushman is wondering if he could count on you or to sort of shepherd this new boy around a bit. Like, let him hang out with me? I said. Exactly, said Mom. He called it being a welcome buddy. But why me? I told you. Your teachers told Mr. Tushman that you were the kind of kid who was known for being a good egg. I mean, I'm so proud they think so highly of you. Why is it sad? What do you mean? You said it's flattering but kind of sad too. Oh, Mom nodded. Well, apparently this boy has some sort of, I guess there's something wrong with his face. Or something like that. Not sure. Maybe he was in an accident. Mr. Tushman said he'd explain a bit more when you come to the school next week. School doesn't start till September. He wants you to meet this kid before school starts. Do I have to? Mom looked a bit surprised. Well, no, of course not, she said, but it would be a nicer thing to do, Jack. If I don't, I have to do it. I said, I don't want to do it. Can you at least think about it? I'll think about it and I don't want to do it. Well, I'm not going to force you, she said, but at least think about it some more. Okay, I'm not calling Mr. Tushman back until tomorrow, so just sit with it a bit. I mean, Jack, I really don't think it's that much to ask that you spend a little extra time with some new kid. It's not just that he is no new kid, Mom, I answered. He's deformed. That's a terrible thing to say, Jack. He is, Mom. You don't even know who it is. Yeah, I do, I said, because I knew the second she started talking about it that it was that kid named August.
My name is Nguyễn Khánh Duy, and this is chapter 54 of the novel Wonder Carvel. I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the cover of Amsford Avenue when I was about 5 or 6. Me and Veronica, my baby sister, were sitting on the bench outside the store with Jamie, my baby brother, who was sitting in his stroller facing us. I guess I was busy eating my ice cream cone, but I didn't even notice the people who sat down next to us. Then at one point I turned my head to suck the ice cream out of the bottom of my cone, and that's when I saw him, August. He was sitting in front, right next to him. I know it wasn't cool, but I kind of went, when I saw him, because I honestly got scared. I thought he was wearing a zombie mask or something. It was the kind of you would say when you're watching a scary movie and the bad guy jumps out of the bushes. Anyway, I know it wasn't nice of me to do that, and though the kid didn't hear me, I know his sister did. "Jack, we have to go," said Veronica. She had gotten up and was turning the stroller around because Jamie, who had obviously just noticed the kid too, was about to say something embarrassing. So I jumped out kinda suddenly, like a bee had landed on me, and followed Veronica as she zoomed away. I could hear the kid mom saying softly behind us, "Okay guys, I think it's time to go." And I turned around to look at them one more time. The kid was licking his ice cream cone. The mom was picking up his scooter, and his sister was glaring at me like she was going to kill me. I looked away quickly. "Veronica, what was wrong with that kid?" I whispered. "Hush, boy," she said, her voice angry. I loved Veronica, but when she got mad, she got mad. Meanwhile, Jamie was practically spilling out of his stroller, trying to get another look as Veronica pushed him away. "But, Veronica," said Jamie, "you boys were very naughty, said Veronica as soon as we were farther down the block. "Staring like that?" "I didn't mean to," I said. "Veronica," said Jamie, "us living like that?" Veronica was muttering, "Oh Lord, that poor lady, I tell you boys. Every day we should thank the Lord for our blessing, you hear me?" Veronica. "What is it, Jamie? Is it Halloween?" "No, Jamie." "Then why was that boy wearing a mask?" Veronica didn't answer. Sometimes when she was mad about something, she wouldn't do that. "He wasn't wearing a mask," I explained to Jamie. "Hush, Jack," said Veronica. "Why are you so mad, Veronica?" I couldn't help asking. I thought this would make her angrier, but actually she shook her head. "It was bad how we did that," she said. "Just getting up like that, like we'd seen the devil." I was scared for what Jamie was going to say, you know. I didn't want him to say anything that would hurt that little boy's feeling, but it was very bad, us living like that. The mama knew what was going on, but we didn't mean it, I answered. "Jack, sometimes you don't have to be mean to hurt someone. You understand?" That was the first time I saw August in the neighborhood, at least that I remembered. But I have seen him around ever since then, a couple of times in the playground, a few times in the park. He used to wear an astronaut helmet sometimes, but I always knew it was him underneath the helmet. All the kids in the neighborhood knew it was him, Everyone has seen August at some point or another. We all know his name, though he doesn't know ours. And whenever I have seen him, I try to remember what Veronica said. But it's hard not to sneak a second look. It's hard to act normal when you see him.
Hi, I'm Vũ Khánh Chi, and this is chapter 54, Carvel, from the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the Carvel on Amesfort Avenue when I was about 5 or 6. Me and Veronica, my babysitter, were sitting on the bench outside the store with Jamie, my baby brother, who was sitting in his stroller facing us. I guess I was busy eating my ice cream cone because I didn't even notice the people who sat down next to us. Then at one point, I turned my head to suck the ice cream out of the bottom of my cone, and that's when I saw him. August. He was sitting right next to me. I know it wasn't cool, but I kind of went, when I saw him because I honestly got scared. I thought he was wearing a zombie mask or something. It was the kind of you say when you're watching a scary movie and the bad guy like jumps out of the bushes. Anyway, I know it wasn't nice of me to do that, and though the kid didn't hear me, I know his sister did. "Jack, we have to go," said Veronica. She had gotten up and was turning the stroller around because Jamie, who had obviously noticed the kid too, was about to say something embarrassing. So I jumped up, kind of suddenly, like a bee had landed on me, and followed Veronica as she zoomed away. I could hear the kid's mom saying softly behind us, "Okay guys, I think it's time to go." And I turned around to look at them one more time. The kid was licking his ice cream cone. The mom was picking up his scooter, and the sister was glaring at me like she was going to kill me. I looked away quickly. "Veronica, what was wrong with that kid?" I whispered. "Hush, boy," she said, her voice angry. I loved Veronica, but when she got mad, she got mad. Meanwhile, Jamie was practically spilling out of his stroller, trying to get another look as Veronica pushed him away. "But Veronica," said Jamie. "You boys were very naughty, said Veronica as soon as we were farther down the block, staring like that. "I didn't mean to," I said. "Veronica," said Jamie. "Us leaving like that," Veronica was muttering. "Oh Lord, that poor lady. I tell you boys, every day we should thank the Lord for our blessings. You hear me? Veronica!" "What is it, Jamie? Is it Halloween?" "No, Jamie." "Then why was that boy wearing a mask?" Veronica didn't answer. Sometimes when she was mad about something, she would do that. "He wasn't wearing a mask," I explained to Jamie. "Hush, Jack," said Veronica. "Why are you so mad, Veronica?" I couldn't help asking. I thought it would make her angrier, but actually she shook her head. "It was bad how we did that," she said. "Just getting up like that like we had just seen the devil." I was scared for what Jamie was going to say, you know. I didn't want him to say anything that would hurt that little boy's feeling. But it was very bad, us leaving like that. The mama knew what was going on. "But we didn't mean it," I answered. "Jack, sometimes you don't have to mean to hurt someone. You understand?" That was the first time I ever saw August in the neighborhood, at least that I remember, but I've seen him around ever since then. A couple of times in the playground, a few times in the dark. He used to wear an astronaut helmet sometime, but I always knew it was him underneath the helmet. All the kids in the neighborhood knew it was him. Everyone has seen August at some point or another. We all know his name, though he doesn't know ours. And whenever I've seen him, I try to remember what Veronica said. But it's hard. It's hard not to sneak a second look. It's hard to act normal when you see him.